Welcome to this CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 video. This video is entitled CA Erwin R8 Applications and Licensing and covers the variety of data modeling applications available in Erwin R8, how licensing has changed, and the relationship between R8 licenses and R8 applications. CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 introduces a new approach to the packaging, installation, and licensing of Erwin data modeling applications. Erwin R8 uses a new licensing strategy that streamlines the installation and licensing of Erwin Data Modeler, thereby greatly simplifying the entire process. With R8, the transition from an installation of CA Erwin Data Modeler as a free trial through the upgrade to an enterprise-level application where models are stored and shared in a central database is a simple and seamless process. With prior versions of CA Erwin Data Modeler, it was often necessary to install several different versions of Erwin applications on one workstation. For example, an Erwin R7 workstation could have installations of each of the R7 applications shown here, making it possible to have 6 separate installations of R7 applications on a single workstation. With R8, this process has been streamlined and simplified. For R8, there is only one installation, and that single installation can be configured to perform as any of what were previously 6 different applications. In fact, CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 may be configured as either of 7 different applications. Here's a list of those 7 R8 applications. These are all available through a single installation due to CA Erwin Data Modeler R8's new licensing strategy. There is one R8 installation that can perform as any of these applications depending on how that application is licensed. So 2 workstations can have identical installations of Erwin R8 and yet provide entirely different applications depending on how each machine is licensed. Note for those who currently have installations of CA Erwin R7, first, CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 is a new application and can be installed and can coexist with any previous versions of CA Erwin applications. You don't have to remove your R7 applications. You can install and use Erwin R8, then go back to Erwin R7 at any time without conflict. Secondly, R8 is a new product that employs a new licensing strategy, so it will not recognize licenses from R7. If you have a license for R7, you will still have to obtain a new R8 license in order to use your R8 applications. Let's take a quick look at the feature highlights for each of the R8 applications. We'll just cover some of the highlights. A complete in-depth comparison is available in the Product Comparison Matrix, a PDF file downloadable at erwin.com. We'll begin with this diagram, which shows an overview of the various R8 applications and how each of what were previously separate applications fit together into the single R8 package. Each of these applications has a separate, unique license, and with the exception of Erwin Initializer, each node in this chart is uniquely associated with one license. Having a valid license for any one of these applications will allow Erwin Data Modeler to run as that application. Note also that the applications and their licenses are hierarchical, so as we move up the hierarchy, each step represents an increase in functionality. The most basic level of data modeling functionality is provided by the CA Erwin Data Modeler Community Edition, or Erwin CE. Erwin CE is a free entry-level data modeling tool that provides the core data modeling features of CA Erwin Data Modeler Standard Edition, but with a limit of 25 model objects. Note that when R8 is installed, it will automatically have a 30-day license for Erwin CE. This allows Erwin R8 to be used immediately after it is installed if a production license has not yet been obtained. The next level of functionality is provided through the CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 Standard Edition Evaluation, or Erwin EVAL. The Erwin EVAL is downloadable free of charge from Erwin.com and is intended for those who wish to evaluate CA Erwin Data Modeler prior to making a purchasing decision. It expands on the features available with Erwin CE, but is provided with a limited time, non-renewable license. For cases where the evaluation process requires more time or is hampered by restrictions imposed by the Erwin EVAL, there is the CA Erwin Data Modeler Standard Edition Trial, or Erwin Trial. The Erwin Trial is very similar to the Erwin EVAL, but extends the license period and does not have the 25 entity restriction. So if after using the Erwin EVAL more time is required to evaluate Erwin Data Modeler, please contact your CA sales representative to obtain a free license for CA Erwin Data Modeler Standard Edition trial. Now we've come to the industry-leading flagship data modeling product, CA Erwin Data Modeler Standard Edition, or Erwin SE. This is the fully featured, fully functional Erwin data modeling application and provides all of Erwin's data modeling features without restriction. However, SE does not include MART connectivity, so does not allow storing and sharing of models through a database MART. For that, there is CA Erwin Data Modeler Workgroup Edition, or Erwin WE. Erwin WE includes all of the functionality of Erwin SE and in addition provides MART connectivity. Erwin WE is for users who create and share models in a centralized database MART. And at the top node, we have CA Erwin Data Modeler MART Administrator. Prior to R8, CA Erwin Model Manager had been a separate product, but it is now integrated into CA Erwin Data Modeler. MART administration functions are enabled by the presence of an Erwin Initializer license in conjunction with a license for Erwin WE. The CA Erwin Workgroup Edition provides the ability to check models in and out of a database MART. The addition of an Erwin Initializer license gives the MART administrator the ability to create, set up, and administer that MART. Last but not least, we have CA Erwin Data Model Navigator, or Navigator. We've saved Navigator for last because it doesn't fall nicely in line with the hierarchy of the other products. CA Erwin Data Model Navigator is a read-only viewer for Erwin data models. It allows the viewing, examination, and analysis of models without the potential for unwanted or unintended changes. Navigator supports MART connectivity and so provides access to models whether they're stored in a MART or as files on a disk. Since Navigator provides MART connectivity, it is essentially a read-only version of the Erwin Workgroup Edition. It's important to note that except for Navigator, licenses are hierarchical. So if a workstation has multiple licenses, the higher level license will take precedence. For example, if a machine is licensed for Erwin CE and also licensed for the Erwin EVAL, when Erwin Data Modeler is invoked, it would open as the Erwin evaluation. However, if the Erwin EVAL license were to expire, the application would revert to Erwin CE. Now this is true at each step in the hierarchy. So an Erwin SE license would supersede Erwin CE, the Erwin EVAL, and or an Erwin trial license. And of course, Erwin WE would supersede all other licenses. CA Erwin Model Navigator is an exception. It requires its own separate license. Regardless of any other licenses that may be installed, an Erwin NE license is required in order to launch CA Erwin Data Model Navigator. Note this is a departure from the R7.3 behavior. In Erwin R7.3, the standard Erwin Data Modeler license would allow CA Erwin Data Modeler to be launched as CA Erwin Model Navigator. This chart provides a quick comparison of the Erwin R7 and R8 applications. You'll see that the application names are very similar, but I'd like to point out a few items. First, note that the standard R7 Data Modeler application equates to either Erwin SE or Erwin WE, depending upon whether MART connectivity is required. Secondly, the Erwin Initializer license is listed individually, but it requires the presence of an Erwin WE license. The combination of an Erwin WE and Erwin Initializer license equates to what was CA Erwin Model Manager in R7. And finally, the last column indicates whether a license is node-locked. Node-locked licenses are registered to a specific machine and are not transferable from one machine to another. If you find you need to move your installation of CA Erwin Data Modeler R8 to a different machine, please contact CA Customer Care for instructions. In summary, we've seen that Erwin Data Modeler R8 introduces a new approach to installing and licensing the entire range of Erwin Data Modeler applications. There's one installation that provides several applications, which results in fewer files, a smaller footprint, and it's important to note that licenses are hierarchical as we just discussed. Information on all CA Erwin applications is available at any time on the Internet from erwin.com and from the CA support website, support.ca.com. Also, many technical and support resources are available directly from the Erwin Data Modeler menu. Just clicking on Help About will present links to a variety of technical resources, including support, licensing, and the CA customer community. So while using CA Erwin Data Modeler, a full range of help and support resources are just a click away. This concludes the presentation on CA Erwin Data Modeler applications and licensing. It is one in a series of technical videos covering various aspects of CA Erwin Data Modeler. Please check for other topics that may be of interest. Thank you.